Minister Reddy, you were speaking earlier on about the challenges that you faced in the context of a newly formed state and trying to respond to the pandemic. Just talk to me then about how do we future-proof health systems against those kind of pandemics that you've spoken about from a governance perspective as well?
As I said earlier, governments would have to be focusing on two things. One is preventive care, and the other is curative care. And looking at this from the lens of how to improve this health care, one would have to be talking about availability, accessibility of health care, and also affordability of health care. All these three would have to be moving in line. In order to do that, from my state's perspective as to how we have been wanting to move forward is, we've taken every 2,000 people, every population with every village with 2,000 population as a unit, and we're coming up with village clinics.
Okay.
And then we're taking up every 30,000 population as a unit and classifying it as mandal, and where we're coming up with 2 PHCs, primary health centers. These primary health centers would have 4 doctors, 2 of the doctors present in each of the PHC center, and they would be given an ambulance 104, and each of this doctor would be given their designated villages. So 5 villages or 4 villages, depending on the mandal size, to each of these doctors. And these doctors, every alternate day, would hop onto the ambulance and visit the village. And they would become the family doctor for that village. Very soon the doctors, because they've been designated only those 4 villages, so they would start to identify people by names. And they would use this village clinic as a hub. This village clinic primarily would be having an A&M, nursing graduate, mid-level health practitioner, and ASHA workers that we spoke about also reporting there. So that would take care of the preventive part. Now comes the curative part. The curative part would be dealing with the community, with district hospitals, the teaching hospitals. The area hospitals and the teaching hospitals are going to play a very critical role there. So there we're coming up with every parliament taken as a unit in order to ensure that there is equitable distribution of teaching hospitals. Because only when you establish teaching hospitals, you have postgraduate students actually coming up there. And only when you have postgraduate students doing their course there, and these teaching hospitals are connected to a hospital, a teaching hospital as well. So teaching college and teaching hospital together would become the tertiary care that we are looking for.
Okay. I mean, if you look at it, jobs are under threat, but they're typically the white-collar jobs.
Yeah.
I think and every industrial revolution has shown that it creates more jobs than what people lose. History shows that. So I don't believe that AI will reduce the number of jobs, but I think it will change the order of jobs. And then I believe the jobs that are going to get created in the next decades are going to be in areas that we're yet to discover. And that puts a lot of pressure on HRD ministers like me who are trying to figure out the curriculum and the entire ecosystem. Saying that, fundamentally AI is here. It's going to change our lives. And as a government, we are looking at how can we expose women to basic AI tools, students to basic AI tools, because farmers to basic AI tools. I think that can fundamentally transform their lives. It can double their income in certain use cases. So just giving them that access and exposure alone can transform the way they're living. And the direction is quite clear that renewable energy will be a focus for the nation and also for the state of Andhra Pradesh. The question that we've been asking is how do you go from mine to energy? We have the entire value chain, the ecosystem, how do you build it out? And how do you create consistency in policies? So if you look at India's view is that how do we bring every bit of our ecosystem So if you look at rooftop solar, to agriculture being solarized, then to the entire green hydrogen, which seems to be the buzzword, and various investments coming into that sector, green steel. So I think, at least from India's context, is to set the policy straight. Yes, there are some subsidies required, but it's not over and beyond the fiscal challenges that any state or the federal government would have. That's one part. But the second part again is, how do you make this the transition political resistant, or resistant to politics? And as a HRD minister, my focus is, how do I create the next set of jobs that we don't even know in exactly which area they're going to come. So working with the industry, working with NGOs, collaborating with them, getting the curriculum, the whole 9 yards, and creating the next wave of jobs, I think is going to be very, very important to make it more resistant.
Thank you.